Sales has always gotten a bad reputation because people confuse sales with manipulation. They're not the same. And in fact, they're actually very much the opposite. See, sales is about helping people attain something they genuinely need, as compared to manipulation is convincing somebody to buy something they don't really need at all. Next, salespeople are typically the best listeners, versus manipulators are the best talkers. A true salesperson spends more time of the conversation asking key questions like, tell me more about your goals. What have you tried? How has this affected your life? What would happen if nothing changed? You see, salespeople are listening because they're trying to determine whether they actually have a solution that the person really needs. Manipulators don't listen. They're simply waiting for their turn to speak. They're rehearsing their next line. Instead of trying to understand the person who's sitting across from them, they're trying to figure out how to get the sale. Here's another difference. Salespeople are the patient's advocate or the person's advocate, as chiropractors will say patients. Manipulators are their own advocate. A salesperson wakes up saying, how can I help this person make the best decision? How can I help them the most? A manipulator wakes up asking, how can I make this sale? How can I sell more people? Those are two completely different mindsets. The best salespeople are willing to lose a sale if it's not the right fit, if it's not in the person's best interest, versus manipulators will always or almost always say anything to avoid hearing a no. Here's another difference. Sales is built on education. Manipulation is built on pressure. When you educate people, they become empowered to make better decisions regarding their life. When you pressure people, they often make emotional decisions that they later regret. Big difference. Education creates confidence. Pressure will create what's so-called buyer's remorse. Another difference is sales creates trust. Manipulation destroys trust. A great salesperson knows that even if somebody doesn't buy today, treating them honestly means they'll come back, refer friends, and maybe, communicate or tell other people how they were treated. Manipulators only think about today's commission. Salespeople think about lifetime relationships. Big difference. All right, another thing. Sales is about solving problems. Manipulation is about closing deals. If your goal is simply to close, you'll eventually lose. If your goal is to solve people's problems, the closing really takes care of itself. Sales is about the ability to help someone work through their concerns so they can receive the value that they truly need. Sales addresses objections with honesty and education because people are going to have objections. Sales helps people overcome the fears that keep them from making a good decision. Manipulation is about overcoming objections simply to close the deal. Regardless of whether it's in the person's best interest or not, they're just looking for a sale. Manipulation treats objections as obstacles to be defeated. Manipulation overcomes objectives just to make a sale. And finally, sales, it's an act of I would say it's an act of service. If you truly believe what you offer can truly impact someone's life, and failing to tell them is really unethical. So think about it. If you knew that you had something that could genuinely help another human being, wouldn't you want them to know? Of course you would. That's what ethical selling is really all about. It's not convincing, it's not pressuring, it's not manipulating, it's serving. So the next time someone tells you that they don't like sales, remind them that the world runs because of ethical salespeople. Every doctor who helps a patient begin care is selling. Every teacher who inspires a student is selling. Every coach who changes a life is selling. Every entrepreneur who solves a problem is selling. They're all selling an idea that can improve someone else's life and future. The question isn't whether you sell, the question is how you sell. Sell with integrity, sell with honesty, sell with compassion. And remember, manipulation serves the seller. Sales serves the person who's sitting in front of you. And that's the difference.